Graders, it's Mrs. Johnson. Today you are going to be doing activity 8 called What Doesn't Line Up. You will need your packet, the new packets that we just got the other day, okay? And we'll be starting in this packet on page 7 today. So just a quick review. Yesterday we looked at a new phenomenon. We looked at the disappearing sun, and we were able to compare that phenomenon to a lunar eclipse. And so we looked at how they were the same, how they were different, and just compared them a little bit that way. Today we're going to look a little bit more at comparing lunar eclipses with this new phenomenon, which we are going to call solar eclipses. So I'm going to want you to watch this video first. Then you are going to be clicking on the link here to follow through with the directions. So when you click on activity 8, that will bring you to this. What doesn't line up. This is going to be a 2-day activity. Right now it says Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to be Thursday and Friday. So what we will be doing is applying the model of the sun, earth, and moon and other data to show the relationship of objects in the model, how the relationship of objects in the model caused the sun to seem as if it were disappearing. So we'll be comparing and contrasting solar and lunar eclipses, interpreting data and looking for patterns in the data on eclipses, and then eventually drawing a model. As I said earlier, this is 2 days, so I'm going to go through the whole thing in this video, but you probably won't get through all that today. All right, so you'll want to make the slideshow big. I don't know if you're going to be able to see me anymore, but here it is. All right, observing lunar and solar eclipses. You have already defined a lunar eclipse as an event in which the shadow of Earth travels between the moon and the sun. Similarly, the disappearing sun can be defined as a solar eclipse. The term eclipse is used when light from one object in the solar system is blocked from another object traveling between the observer and the source of the illumination. Although the red moon and disappearing sun are both eclipses, you have already noticed some differences in their causes and patterns. So the first thing you are going to do, and this is on page 7 of your packet, page 83 in the textbook is where you can find these photos. You're going to start off by looking at these 5 photos and their headings, and on page 7 of your packet you're going to write down your observations about the pictures of these various lunar and solar eclipses. What do you notice that's similar, and what do you notice that's different? So you're going to want to take a few minutes to look at those, and then on the bottom of page 7 it says record one new question you have about the eclipses after analyzing these images. So that is your first task. And this slide is just showing the page that you'll be writing on in your packet. Once you're finished with that, the second activity you'll do is watch both of these videos, okay? These are going to help you and explain a little bit more about the next activity. You don't have to write anything for these. All right, then what you're going to do, and these charts can be found on the textbook in page 84 and 85, and then you'll be writing your information in your packet on page 8. So what you are doing is looking at these 2 data tables, and these data tables are showing some different types of eclipses. So this first data table is showing lunar eclipses from 2015 to 2019. The second one is solar eclipses from the same date range. We have some different dates. We have the type of eclipse, and after watching those videos, you should understand a little bit more about what these are. And then you have the duration of totality. So the duration of totality is how long the total eclipse lasted for. These little dashes, those ones were not total eclipses, and so there was never a totality. And then same thing on the solar eclipses, the date, the type of eclipse, and then the duration of the totality. So take a little while to look at these charts, and on page 8 of your packet you're recording your observations, listing any patterns you notice about how often the eclipses occur, what types occur, and if there's anything else that doesn't fit the pattern. So go ahead and work with maybe your partner or your table group and see if you can come up with some information by studying these charts. Once you're finished with that, you're going to write down any questions that you have about the data sets based on patterns that don't fit the model. And I'm really thinking that's about as far as you're going to get for Thursday, but just in case, I'll keep going in the video. So the next slide, this is showing some visuals of different solar eclipses in the first box here, and then lunar eclipses, or a lunar eclipse, in this second box. And these lines right here, like this blue, that's showing a total eclipse, and these, where the line is, that's where you could see that eclipse happen. So the pink is annular eclipses, and the orange are hybrid eclipses. So if you lived or you were on Earth underneath one of those spots, that's where you would be able to see it. In the lunar eclipse, this is showing how much of Earth you could see, the total lunar eclipse, okay, and then the partial, and then where you couldn't see it, okay. So on this one, what you are doing, and this is page 8, or we're on page 9 of your packet, page 86 and 87 of your textbook, you're going to record your observations about the data in these images. What similarities and differences do you notice? So basically look at in how wide of a range can you see the eclipses in? Okay, so that's kind of what you're comparing. So if you can see it in a lot of different places on Earth or just a few different places on Earth. Slide 10, this is on the bottom of page 9 of your packet. Write any new questions you may have about the data sets based on patterns that do not fit our model. So again, do you have any other questions? Then you're going to watch a video and select all observations that include evidence from the video. So these ones are different letters, so which ones are evidence? You'll write those on the bottom of page 9 of your packet, which letters you chose. Next thing you're going to do is draw a model of the Earth, Sun, Moon system that shows how the Earth, Sun, Moon system compares at different locations around the Sun. Be sure to show the new information about the Moon's orbit and its effects on how we can see solar and lunar eclipses. Okay, so basically what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be drawing a model, much like we drew a model for our lunar eclipse, you're going to draw a model for the solar eclipse. I know it asks you to do both the solar and lunar eclipse, but for this, let's just go ahead and do our solar eclipse since we already have one for a lunar eclipse. And then finally, what did you figure out today? This is on page 12 of your, there's a whole blank page in our packet, I'm noticing. But on page 12, what did you figure out today? What did you learn about the relationship between the Moon's orbit around Earth to Earth's orbit around the Sun? And then just kind of what questions can we answer? What questions do you still have? And I'll be back by the time we get to this, okay? Then if you have time, you can go and use some of these different interactives to kind of play around. So that is what you are doing. Let me know if you have questions. Ask the sub if you have questions, but hopefully you'll be able to get through a good portion of the beginning of it today.